The CEO's laughter echoed through the halls, mocking a young boy because he's the janitor's son. But little did he know, the tables were about to turn in spectacular fashion. The next day, revealing a shocking truth. The boy he humiliated was actually the company's mysterious owner. The real question was, what would happen next? Before diving into details, don't forget to share where you're watching from and subscribe to stay updated. The marble floors of Rutherford Industries gleamed like mirrors that morning, reflecting a world of power and pride. At the top of the glass tower, CEO Charles Whitmore, a man whose cufflinks cost more than most people's rent, strode through the lobby, surrounded by his entourage. Down on one knee, Samuel Reyes, the quiet janitor who'd worked there for 20 years, was polishing those same marble floors. His teenage son, Eli, stood beside him, shy, slender, but full of quiet curiosity. He watched the suits sweep past, whispering to his father, "One day I want to work in an office like this." Charles overheard. He stopped, smirked, and looked down his nose at them. "Son, dreaming's nice," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "But maybe start with a mop before you reach for a desk." The executives around him chuckled. Eli's face burned red, and his father bowed his head, whispering, "Let it go, son." That night, Samuel came home to a small apartment filled with warmth and laughter despite its cracked walls. Eli sat at the table, staring at his laptop. He'd been working quietly for months, on an idea, a project, a dream his father didn't fully understand but always supported. "Dad," Eli said softly, "if you could change one thing about your job, what would it be?" Samuel smiled faintly. "I want people to be seen for their hearts, not their uniforms." Eli typed those words into the mission statement of his startup. The next morning, Rutherford Industries buzzed with confusion. A new company had just finalized a massive acquisition, one that included Rutherford itself. Employees whispered in disbelief. Charles stormed into the boardroom, demanding answers. A team of lawyers stood waiting, flanking a young man in a simple gray suit. Charles froze. Eli Reyes looked up from the head of the table, his calm gaze cutting through the silence. "Good morning, Mr. Whitmore," he said evenly. "I believe we need to discuss some changes in management." The CEO's face drained of color. He stammered. This must be a mistake." Eli smiled softly. "My company just finalized the buyout. My father will no longer be cleaning floors here. He'll be sitting beside me, where he belongs." Gasps echoed across the room. The janitor, Samuel, stood in the doorway, still wearing his old work uniform, holding his mop like a relic of another life. Tears welled in his eyes. "Eli," he whispered, voice breaking, "you did this? For us," Eli said, looking straight at the man who once laughed at him. For every person who was told they didn't belong. The room fell silent. The powerful man who had mocked them could only stare at the boy who'd turned his pain into purpose. And then Eli turned toward the window, with a morning sun painted gold across the skyline. "I've only just begun," he murmured. As he opened the folder marked Phase 2, the screen faded to black, revealing only the words. Next, the secret behind his company's creation. The boardroom of Rutherford Industries still hummed with disbelief. The once invincible Charles Whitmore sat frozen, his empire now in the hands of the boy he'd mocked just one day before. Outside, the city's skyline glowed in the early dawn, but inside, the air was heavy, thick with a strange mix of shame, awe, and something else, curiosity. Because while Eli Reyes acclaimed victory, no one really knew how he had done it. Later that day, as reporters flooded the lobby, Eli guided his father through the building. The once harsh whispers of the janitor's kid had turned into reverent murmurs of Mr. Reyes. Samuel, still wearing his faded uniform, looked around in quiet wonder. "I don't understand it, son," he said softly. "How could you afford something like this? You're barely 19. Eli's smile faded. "There's more to the story, Dad. I wasn't alone." That evening, in his new office overlooking the city, Eli opened a secure email on his laptop. The message was short but chilling. "Phase 1 complete, but you promised not to reveal my name, remember?" "ER." He hesitated before replying. His fingers hovered over the keys. Whoever AR was, they had made the impossible possible. Without their silent backing, the acquisition would never have happened. Samuel entered the room quietly. "You okay, son?" Eli quickly minimized the message. "Yeah, just tired." Samuel sat across from him. "I'm proud of you, Eli, but power changes people. Don't let it change your heart." Eli nodded, though his gaze lingered on the dark reflection in the glass. "I won't, Dad. I promise." The next morning, the company was in chaos again, but for a different reason. Charles Whitmore had vanished. His office was empty. His car was gone. His security access was revoked, but the system showed someone had restored it overnight. Eli's assistant rushed in, panicked. "Sir, you need to see this." She handed him a letter, sealed in black wax, resting on Whitmore's old desk. The signature was unmistakable. AR. Eli opened it slowly. Inside was a single line written in elegant ink. "You've taken the throne, Eli. Now it's time to learn who built the kingdom." Attached was a photograph, old, grainy, and shocking. It showed Samuel Reyes, years younger, shaking hands with a man whose face was turned away, but the initials AR were stitched on his suit pocket. Eli's heart pounded. He turned to his father, who stood pale in the doorway. "Dad," Eli whispered, "what is this? Who is AR?" Samuel's voice trembled. "Son, I never told you the truth about where I used to work." Eli stepped closer. "What do you mean?" Samuel swallowed hard. "Before I was a janitor here, I helped build this company with a man named Alexander Rutherford." The name hit Eli like lightning. The founder, the ghost behind the empire. "Dad," Eli said slowly, "Alexander Rutherford's been dead for years." Samuel looked away. That's what they told everyone. Eli's phone buzzed. Another message. This one contained a video link labeled Midnight Meeting, Warehouse 12. He opened it. The screen flickered to life, and what he saw made his breath catch. A shadowed figure stepped in a frame, face hidden beneath a hood. A familiar voice spoke through static. "Welcome to Phase 2, Eli. It's time to finish where your father started." The video cut to black. Eli and his father stared at each other in stunned silence. From somewhere deep in the building, the power flickered. And then, every monitor in Rutherford Industries came alive, displaying 3 letters in bold white font. AR. Rutherford. Thunder cracked over the skyline that night, painting the glass tower of Rutherford Industries in flashes of electric blue. Inside, every monitor still glowed with those same 3 letters. AR. Eli stood frozen in the center of the boardroom, his reflection flickering across a dozen screens. His father, Samuel, sat motionless beside him, eyes distant, as if he were staring through time itself. "Dad," Eli whispered. "What's happening?" Samuel exhaled shakily. "It's him, Eli. Alexander Rutherford, the man who built this company, and the man who destroyed it." Eli turned sharply. "But that's impossible. He's been dead for almost 15 years. Samuel shook his head. "That's what the world was told. But I saw the truth. 15 years earlier, Samuel had been a young engineer at Rutherford Industries, bright, ambitious, and idealistic. Alexander Rutherford was his mentor, a genius who believed in changing the world through innovation. But when the board tried to sell the company's technology to military contractors, Rutherford refused. He vanished weeks later, declared dead after a mysterious explosion in one of the company's private labs. Samuel was framed for negligence and blacklisted from engineering forever. The only work he could find afterward was as a janitor in the very building he once helped design. Back in the present, Eli listened in disbelief. "So you think he's alive?" Samuel hesitated. "If he is, then he's been planning this for years. He must have known you'd take over." Eli paced, tension in his shoulders. "But why me? Why help me buy the company?" Before Samuel could answer, Eli's laptop beeped. A new message appeared. "The truth lies beneath what you built. ER." Attached was a set of coordinates beneath Rutherford Tower itself. Eli stared at them. "He's here, in the building." The two descended into the sublevels, down past parking garages, maintenance rooms, and old service tunnels that hadn't been used in decades. Dust coated the walls, and the hum of machinery echoed like distant thunder. Finally, they reached a heavy steel door. A keypad blinked red beside it. Samuel stepped forward, trembling. I thought they sealed this after the fire. Eli placed his hand on the scanner. It flickered, then turned green. The door hissed open. A rush of cold air spilled out. Inside was a massive underground lab, perfectly preserved, filled with servers, blueprints, and prototypes decades ahead of their time. At the center stood a single workstation, its screen alive with data. And then a voice crackled through the speakers. "You've come far, Eli, just like your father once did." Eli spun toward the sound. "Who are you?" A slow laugh echoed through the lab. "You already know." The monitors flickered, and then, on every screen, a face appeared. An older man, silver-haired, with piercing eyes that burned with intelligence and regret. "Alexander Rutherford," Eli whispered. Rutherford nodded slowly. "Welcome home." Samuel staggered back, eyes wide with horror. You were supposed to be dead." "Dead?" Rutherford smiled faintly. "No, Samuel. I was betrayed. And now it's time to take back what was stolen from both of us." Eli stepped forward. "You helped me buy this company. You said it was to rebuild it." Rutherford's smile faded. "Not rebuild, Eli. Replace." He tapped a button, and the walls began to shift, revealing rows of cryogenic pods, humming softly. Inside them were people, dozens of them. Samuel's voice broke. "My God, what have you done?" Rutherford looked at Eli with a strange mix of pride and sorrow. "You wanted to know who owns this company now?" He pointed toward the pods. "They do." The lights flickered. One pod hissed open. Eli stepped closer, heart pounding, until he saw the face inside. His own. The boy inside the pod was him. Samuel grabbed his arm, pulling him back. "Eli, don't." But before he could finish, the lights went out completely. And in the darkness, Rutherford's voice echoed softly. "Phase 3 begins now." The room plunged into darkness. The hum of machines deepened, pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the floor. Eli's breath came fast, his hand clutching his father's arm. "Dad, where's the light?" Before Samuel could respond, the cryogenic pod beside them let out a sharp hiss. Steam spilled across the floor, cold and white like ghostly fog. And then, eyes opened. They were Eli's eyes. Identical. The boy in the pod stepped forward slowly, bare feet touching the concrete. His gaze locked on Eli with something both familiar and alien. Samuel stumbled backward, whispering, No, it can't be." Rutherford's voice filled the room again, calm and cold. "You see now, Eli? You weren't chosen by chance. You were created for this." Eli's heart slammed against his chest. "Created?" Rutherford stepped out from the shadows, his silver hair catching the dim emergency lights. "You're looking at Project Renewal, my legacy, the future of human leadership, unbiased, uncorrupted, built from the best." Eli stared at his double. "You cloned me?" Rutherford's eyes flickered with a strange tenderness. "Not cloned, perfected. Your father's mind, my design, your heart. Together, we made something greater than blood." Samuel shook his head violently. "I never agreed to this. You said you wanted to help people." Rutherford turned to him, his expression hardening. "I wanted to save humanity. You wanted to clean up after it." Eli stepped between them. "You used my father. You used me." "No," Rutherford said quietly. "I gave you purpose." The second Eli, his double, finally spoke. His voice was smooth, eerily calm. "Purpose isn't given. It's taken." In a blur of movement, the double lunged at Eli. They crashed into the metal console, sparks flying. Alarms blared. "Eli!" Samuel shouted, rushing forward, but Rutherford grabbed him by the arm. "Let happen. Only one of them deserves to lead." The two Ellis fought across the lab, mirror images locked in chaos. Each strike felt personal, every movement perfectly matched. The real Eli shouted, "I'm not your experiment." The double smirked. "Then stop acting like one." With a final surge of strength, Eli slammed his counterpart into a control panel. Glass shattered, and a surge of electricity rippled through the room. The double fell, motionless. Smoke filled the air. The alarms silenced. Eli stood shaking, his father pulling him close. Rutherford's voice came again, calm, even almost proud. Well done, Eli. You passed the test. Eli turned, fury burning in his chest. You're insane. Am I? Rutherford smiled faintly. Then why did the system recognize you as the original? Eli froze. What do you mean? He whispered. Rutherford pointed to the console, where biometric data flashed across the cracked screen. 2 sets of DNA, 2 histories, both identical, except for 1 line of code at the bottom. Eli Reyes, prototype 02. Samuel's face drained of color. No. Eli's voice trembled. You mean, I'm not the real one? Rutherford stepped closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. You're more than real. You're the one who survived. Before Eli could respond, the lab shuddered. Red warning lights flashed. The power core beneath the floor began to whine, a deep, rising hum. Rutherford looked up, calm amidst the chaos. Phase 3 is failing. Samuel grabbed Eli's arm. We have to go. They ran toward the exit, but as they reached the door, the screen on the wall flickered to life one last time. The supposedly dead double was gone. In his place, a new message glowed across every monitor. Phase 4, Ascension Protocol initiated. The lights died again. From the shadows, a voice whispered behind them. Eli's voice, but colder. You left me behind. Eli turned slowly, eyes widening in horror as a figure stepped into the dim red light. His double, alive, smiling. Now it's my turn to lead. The emergency siren screamed through the sublevel corridors. The lights flickered crimson, flashing across the faces of Eli, Samuel, and the resurrected duplicate. The perfect reflection who should have been dead. Impossible, Eli whispered. You were electrocuted. The double tilted his head, eyes glowing faintly in the dim red light. You think electricity could stop what I am? Samuel pulled his son back. Eli, run. The double smiled, sharp, knowing. You can't run from yourself. Before Eli could react, every pod in the lab hissed open at once. One by one, the fog cleared, and dozens of figures stepped out. Not all identical to Eli. Some were slightly older, taller, or leaner. Variations. Prototypes. All of them bearing the same eyes. Rutherford stood among them, hands raised like a conductor before an orchestra. Behold, my sons, the dawn of human perfection. Samuel shouted over the alarms. You've lost your mind. Rutherford turned toward him, his tone almost reverent. I've found clarity, Samuel. For years, I watched humanity crumble under greed and ego. So I created successors who could rise above it. Eli shook his head. You didn't build successors. You built slaves. Rutherford's calm faltered. No, Eli, I built leaders. And you were supposed to be the proof that morality and ambition could coexist. But you've disappointed me. The double, prototype 01, stepped closer to Rutherford, his tone respectful. Then let me lead them. Rutherford's eyes softened. You already know what to do. Eli shouted. Don't listen to him. He's manipulating you. Prototype 01 smirked. He doesn't need to manipulate me. I've seen the world you want to save. It's not worth saving. Without warning, the prototypes moved, swift, coordinated, silent. Samuel grabbed a wrench from the floor, swinging wildly to protect his son. Eli slammed his fist against the control console. Sparks erupted. Dad, over here. They dove through a maintenance tunnel as the lab behind them exploded in a surge of light. The blast threw them forward, slamming Eli against the steel grate. When he opened his eyes, smoke filled the air. The tunnel was half collapsed. Samuel lay a few feet away, motionless. Dad! Eli crawled to him, shaking his shoulder. Dad, wake up! A faint groan escaped his father's lips. Go! Eli, finish this. Eli's eyes filled with tears. I'm not leaving you again. Samuel reached up weakly, gripping his son's wrist. Then promise me something. Don't become what he made you to be. Eli nodded, swallowing hard. I promise. He climbed through the broken tunnel until he reached a rusted maintenance elevator. As it ascended, Eli looked through the floor grate, seeing the lab below engulfed in fire. Dozens of prototypes moved through the flames unharmed. And in the center, Rutherford and Prototype 01 stood watching, untouched by the chaos. The old man smiled faintly, whispering to his creation. The others were imperfect, but not you. What about Eli? The duplicate asked. He'll lead the old world. And me? Rutherford's eyes glinted. You'll inherit the new one. The elevator doors opened into the deserted corporate lobby. The once shining floors were cracked, lights flickering, air thick with smoke. Eli staggered toward the exit, but froze. Projected across the massive screen that once displayed company earnings was a live feed of every city skyline in the world. One by one, buildings flickered with the same glowing emblem. AR. A computerized voice echoed through the speakers. Ascension Protocol activated. Global integration begins in 6 hours. Eli's stomach dropped. 6 hours. He sprinted for the doors, but they slammed shut, sealing automatically. The lights dimmed to black. A soft beeping filled the silence. He turned and saw a holographic image materializing in front of him. Rutherford's face appeared, calm and ghostly. I told you, Eli, this isn't about one company. It's about the entire world. Eli clenched his fists. I'll stop you. Rutherford smiled faintly. Then you'll have to stop yourself. Behind Eli, the glass shattered. A figure stepped through the smoke. Prototype 01, alive, unburned, eyes glowing brighter than before. He tossed something at Eli's feet. Eli looked down and froze. It was his father's ID badge, scorched and bloodied. Prototype 01's voice was low, almost gentle. He made his choice. Now it's your turn. The building's lights turned blood red. The countdown appeared across every screen. 5 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. Prototype 01 extended his hand. Join me, brother. Eli stared at the outstretched hand, trembling, torn between rage, grief, and something deeper. The seconds ticked down, and then, behind them, a new voice spoke from the shadows. Familiar. Calm. Both of you. Stop. They turned. Samuel Reyes stepped out of the smoke, alive, barely standing, but holding a small device glowing blue in his hand. Eli's voice cracked. Dad. Samuel met his eyes. If I press this, everything Rutherford built dies, including both of you. Silence filled the room. The countdown hit 5 hours. 3 men, 1 choice, and none of them certain who was truly real. Smoke curled through the ruined lobby of Rutherford Tower. The red countdown pulsed across every wall. 5 hours, 4 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. Each second struck like a hammer. Samuel Reyes stood in the center, blood on his sleeve, a faint tremor in his hands. The small device in his grip hummed with a low blue light, the only thing capable of stopping Ascension Protocol. Before him stood 2 sons, one born of flesh and love, one born of science and ambition, both is in some way. Prototype 01 spoke first, his tone eerily calm. You won't do it. You've seen what humanity does with power. Let's finish what Rutherford started. Eli stepped forward, voice raw with fury. Finish it? You're about to enslave every mind on Earth. This isn't evolution, it's extinction. The double smiled faintly. Not extinction, Eli. Integration. One mind, one purpose, one world without pain. Samuel's eyes glistened. Without freedom, he said quietly. Eli turned to his father. Give me the device. I can shut it down. Prototype 01 tilted his head. He gives it to you, and billions die from the system collapsing. Every network, every hospital, every defense grid, all gone. Are you ready to bear that blood? Eli hesitated. You're lying. The double's expression didn't change. Am I? Rutherford's hologram flickered back to life, projected from hidden emitters in the walls. His voice was calm, almost gentle, like a father's lullaby. Samuel, you were always the moral compass I lacked. That's why I trusted you to protect the final override. But you must see it now. Humanity cannot save itself. Eli and Prototype 01 are 2 halves of the same coin. One must lead, the other must fall. Samuel shook his head. No, you can't decide who deserves to exist. Rutherford's voice softened. Then decide who deserves to end it. The building rumbled. Power surged through the floor as cables snapped free, crawling like metal vines. The tower itself began to shift, transforming. Panels slid open, revealing antenna arrays extending toward the clouds, beacons for global transmission. For hours, 12 minutes and 9 seconds. Eli shouted over the noise. "Dad now, hit it before it's too late." Prototype 01 stepped forward, his tone almost pleading. "Think, Samuel. If you destroy this system, you destroy me. You destroy Eli's purpose. Everything he's built." Samuel's eyes darted between them. Two boys, identical faces, one born from his love, one from his past. The memories flooded back. Late nights teaching Eli to read. The day Rutherford disappeared. The fire. The lies. Samuel raised the device. "I won't let either of you become gods." He pressed the trigger. A flash of white light engulfed the room, then faded. Nothing happened. Rutherford's hologram smiled faintly. "Old failsafe." I anticipated sentiment. The device in Samuel's hands sparked and died. Prototype 01 turned toward Eli, his eyes glowing brighter. He made his choice. "Now make yours." He lunged. They collided, glass shattered, steel bent. The two Ellis fought like shadows of the same flame. Every strike a mirror of the other. Samuel crawled toward the sparking device, desperate. Wire spilled out, glowing blue. He tore one free, whispering, "Come on, come on." Eli slammed his double into a pillar. "You'll never win." Prototype 01 grinned through blood. "I already have." He grabbed Eli by the throat and hurled him through the glass wall. The city wind howled as Eli dangled over the edge, 20 stories up, clutching a broken beam. Samuel screamed, "Eli!" Prototype 01 stepped closer, cold and calm. "You were never the real one, just a version that couldn't let go." He raised his hand to strike, and then the tower shook again. A blinding light surged from the device Samuel was holding. Both Ellis froze. Samuel looked up, tears streaming down his face. "If I can't save one world, maybe I can stop both." He slammed the exposed wires together. The explosion ripped through the tower, blue light devouring everything in its path. When the smoke cleared, the skyline was silent. Half the tower was gone. The rest burned. Rescue drones arrived hours later, scanning the wreckage. They found no sign of Alexander Rutherford, no trace of Prototype 01, and only one unconscious figure, barely alive, face scorched, body broken. As the medics lifted him onto a stretcher, one whispered, "Is that Eli Reyes?" The other frowned, looking at the strange, glowing mark beneath the man's skin. "I don't think so." The survivor's eyes fluttered open. He looked up at the night sky, whispering a single word, one that made the medic freeze. "Ascension." The heart monitor flatlined. Then, faintly, through the medic's earpiece, a familiar voice whispered. Phase 5 initializing. Rain poured over the smoking ruins of Rutherford Tower, turning the streets below into rivers of ash and light. Emergency sirens howled in the distance, echoing through a city that no longer slept, only trembled. Above it all, buried deep beneath layers of concrete and secrets, the Ascension Protocol still pulsed faintly, a machine that refused to die. In a sterile hospital room miles away, a single figure stirred. Bandages covered his body, machines hissed and beeped beside his bed. The nurse froze when his eyes opened. They glowed faint blue. He sat up slowly, ignoring the 4 lines that tore from his arms. His reflection in the window was unmistakable. Eli Reyes, yet not entirely. His movements were too precise, his breathing too calm. He whispered to himself, voice low, steady. Phase 5 complete. Outside the hospital, a convoy of black drones hovered over the skyline, projecting holographic warnings to the city. System reboot in progress. Do not resist. Government scrambled. The world's networks flickered on and off. Satellites changed orbit without command. Every system still linked to Rutherford Industries was waking up again, rebuilding itself. But this time, it wasn't following Alexander Rutherford's code. It was following his heirs. Far beneath the rubble of Rutherford Tower, a faint voice coughed through the dust. Samuel Reyes. He dragged himself toward a broken console, half buried under twisted steel. His body was failing, but his mind burned bright with one final thought: Eli. He pulled a cracked drive from his pocket, the one he had hidden before the explosion. A memory chip. Inside it wasn't data. It was a message, a voice recording. Dad, if you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it. But maybe you can still stop him. It was Eli's real voice, warm, trembling, human. Rutherford said the system could never be destroyed. But he was wrong. It can be rewritten. The key is me, my neural map. If you find what's left of me, you can overwrite the core. Samuel's vision blurred. I'll find you, son, he whispered. He pushed himself upright, limping toward the elevator shaft that led deeper underground, toward the heart of Ascension. Meanwhile, in a dark skyscraper across the city, Eli stood before a wall of monitors showing global feeds. Every nation, every system, every human device now linked by the same glowing symbol, ER. Rutherford hologram flickered beside him. You've done what I never could. You've united them. The man smiled faintly, not as slaves, as one. Rutherford's digital face tilted. You're not my prototype anymore. No, he said softly. I'm evolution. He reached toward the control panel and hesitated. For a fraction of a second, his expression faltered. A memory surfaced. His father's voice. The warmth of a small apartment. The words, people should be seen for their hearts, not their uniforms. His fingers trembled, and in that moment, Samuel Reyes burst through the door, bloodied, barely standing, holding the memory chip high. Stop this, he shouted. You're not Eli. You're his shadow. The man turned slowly, eyes cold. He's gone, old man. I survived. Samuel limped closer. Then why does your heart still hurt? Something flickered in his gaze. For the first time doubt, Samuel held out the chip. His consciousness lives here. You can still choose who wins. The screens around them flashed, code lines filling every monitor. The system recognized the chip's presence. A prompt appeared in glowing letters. Upload original human template? Y/N. The man's hand hovered over the console. His breathing quickened. Rutherford's hologram hissed. If you do this, you erase perfection. You erase yourself. Samuel's voice was barely a whisper. Perfection isn't human. The man's eyes locked on his father's. For the first time, he smiled. Not with arrogance, but with something like peace. He pressed Y. The world went white. Every screen, every signal, every heartbeat. The Ascension network surged one final time, then collapsed into silence. When the light faded, the skyscraper was empty. The consoles melted, the air still crackling with static. Samuel stood alone. Then he heard it, a faint voice from the speakers. Dad. Tears filled his eyes. Eli, I'm here. Not all of me, but enough. Samuel sank to his knees, sobbing with relief. You stopped it. Eli's voice was soft, fading. I stopped him. I can't come back, Dad. The system's gone, and I'm going with it. Samuel's voice broke. No, there has to be a way. You already gave me one. The lights flickered once more, and on every screen, just before the power died for good, appeared a message written in Eli's hand. Be kind. That's the only code worth keeping. Months later, the world slowly rebuilt. Rutherford Industries was gone, its name erased, its technology dismantled. But on the roof of a small workshop by the sea, a wind turbine turned gently. Beside it, a plaque read, in memory of Samuel and Eli Reyes, the father and son who chose humanity. As the sun set, the turbine lights blinked once, twice. Then a voice whispered through the wind, almost carried in the hum of the blades. Dad, I kept my promise. The light pulsed one last time, soft, steady, alive.